What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode on the Fantasy Fellows Show. My name is Kyle. We're going to be going over the post-game notes from Week 10. We'll look at the snap counts, the routes run, and all the fantasy box scores from the week. This is a membership article, so if you guys are interested in seeing the full thing, please check out thefantasyfellowship.com, become a member. Otherwise, we'll just go over the first 3 or 4 games on this list, and we'll hide it for the rest of the members. But looking at the first Thursday night game here, Ravens-Bengals, this game was a lot of fun. There's nothing too crazy about the snaps and the routes that we need to note. I think for the Ravens, Diontae Johnson's probably going to get more work next week. For now, they're still running Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman. Those guys, I mean, you're starting Flowers every week at this point, but I think Bateman's starting to become an interesting wide receiver 3 flex. I do expect Diontae to maybe work his way closer to Nelson Agholor in the coming weeks, but not really a guy I need on my redraft team right now. He's got a long way ahead of him, or we're not going to trust him in fantasy anytime soon. So if you need to drop Diontae Johnson, I'm okay with it. Mark Andrews with no Isaiah Likely looked like he was back to his normal self. I think this was his season high in snaps and routes, and he had a good game as well. And then the running backs, we did see Keaton Mitchell enter the fold, but he only took 2 snaps in a route. I think he's going to eat a little bit into both Derrick Henry and Justice Hill's workload, but we're talking very, very minor snaps and routes. So for now, you're still starting Lamar, Derrick Henry, Flowers, and Mark Andrews. The guy to think about is Rashad Bateman at this point. With the Cincinnati Bengals, no T. Higgins in this one. We lost Eric All, the rookie tight end, for a season-ending knee injury, and then Zach Moss with that neck injury. So we do have some interesting nuggets here. Chase Brown was a running back 1, 71 snaps, 47 routes, just dominated this game. They gave Khalil Herbert 2 snaps, 1 route. Travion Williams got 1 snap. This is Chase Brown. This is his backfield, guys. So he's a running back 1, I think, for me, rest of season. 9 receptions on 11 targets for 52 yards. I have to get this into Chase Brown's column, but he did run 13 for 42 yards and a touchdown. Awesome. This is an elite usage game. If you have Chase Brown, I think you have a league-winning type running back here, because the Bengals don't want to run the ball. They want to throw the ball. And Joe Burrow here, 56 pass attempts, over 400 yards, 4 touchdowns. Obviously, Jamar Chase was the lead horse in this one. You're starting Jamar Chase. I think when T. Higgins comes back, we can look at T. Higgins as a wide receiver 3. But right now, Yoshivas, Jermaine Burton, I just don't care about these 2 guys. Gesicki's interesting. He had 9 targets on the day, only caught 4 for 30. You know, not the best output, but the usage is great. With Eric All removed, you're seeing Mike Gesicki get season-high snaps and routes. The other guy to note here is Tanner Hudson, who they use as their 3rd tight end, but 6 receptions, 42 yards, and a touchdown, 7 targets. Just someone to monitor there for deeper leagues. I think for the Bengals going forward, you're starting both Jamar Chase and Chase Brown, Joe Burrow, T. Higgins when he returns, and then you think about Mike Gesicki. So interesting game here. Ravens 35, Bengals 34. Moving into the Giants-Panthers game in Germany, the Panthers win 20-17 in overtime. Holy Chuba Hubbard. He got paid, and he looked like he deserved to get paid, man. He dominated the backfield. I will note Miles Sanders left early in this one. He did get hurt, but Chuba Hubbard was fantastic. 28 carries, 153 yards. This was the offense, man. The Giants couldn't contain him. They just kept letting him get chunks of yards at a time. He caught 4 of 6 targets for 16 yards, and he ran in a touchdown. Chuba Hubbard, and I know Jonathan Brooks is coming back soon, but I don't think he's going to wrestle away this starting workload from Chuba Hubbard. So if you have Chuba, congrats. I think you got a top 15 running back the rest of season still, even though Jonathan Brooks is coming back. Bryce Young looked better, and no Adam Thielen yet. Diontae Johnson removed from this offense. Still not a lot happening here. Xavier Legette, 3 for 40 on 4 targets. You got Jalen Coker leading the team in targets with 8, 3 for 41. Jatavian Sanders looking good from a dynasty perspective, 2 for 8 and a touchdown. But just nothing in the passing game here. And Bryce Young did look better. He had some nice throws in this one, 15 of 25 for 126 and a touchdown. The Panthers they're just going to give it to Chuba Hubbard when they're in a good game script here. So nothing crazy here. I do think Legette and Coker are holds in redraft formats. Jatavian Sanders, a nice add in Dynasty if he's out there for you. The Giants side of things, Tyrone Tracy, 18 for 103 and a touchdown. dominating the snaps and the routes. Singletary's still looking good as a backup. He was 8 for 40 as a rusher, 1 for 5 as a receiver. He still looks good, so I think Singletary's a solid handcuff hold right now, but this is Tyrone Tracy. He's a running back one, I think, the rest of the season, much like I think about Chase Brown. Daniel Jones did not look good in this one passing. Surprise, 190 passing yards, 2 interceptions. He continues to run touchdowns in, though, so that's fine. Just ineffective as a thrower. Malik Neighbors, 6 for 50. Jalen Hyatt, 4 for 39. That's better. Wan'Dale Robinson, 5 for 51. Theo Johnson, another rookie tight end here, 4 for 37. So there's some hope. Like, I like Neighbors, Hyatt, Wan'Dale, Theo, Slayton when he returns from concussion. But the overall pecking order for the Giants receivers, you're going to keep trotting out Malik Neighbors. I think when Slayton comes back, that maybe Slayton's a wide receiver 3 flex. And I think Wan'Dale kind of loses some steam here, but I don't want to rely on Giants passing weapons outside of Neighbors. And then I do like Tracy, so we'll monitor that. But the Giants, I think we're going to probably see Drew Lock week 12, if not pretty soon after that. So interesting game, Panthers, Giants. Another interesting game, Patriots, Chicago Bears. Not much to really note in this game. This game was ugly. Drake May continues to look good, but he's going to make some mistakes along the way. 184 yards and a passing touchdown, 4 for 24 as a rusher. He's a low-end QB2 for Superflex leagues. Ramondre dominates this backfield with 20 carries for 74 yards. Just no touchdown in this game. You'll take the 8.7 floor. Hasty kind of hopping Antonio Gibson. I don't know if that's just because the game got out of hand at the end, but a little bit interesting there. Hasty and Gibson both kind of operating as the RB2. Quiet day for Hunter Henry. 1 for 14 on 4 targets. Austin Hooper remains, like, they do a lot of 2 tight end stuff. 3 for 64 for Hooper. Keyshawn Butte might be worth picking up. They didn't even play Kendrick Bourne in this one. So I think Demario Douglas, probably the only Patriot I would consider putting in my lineup right now. But I do like this Keyshawn Butte usage for the last month or so. He looks like the wide receiver 2 right now. So not too much to learn from here. I think you're starting Ramondre. You can start Drake May in Superflex. And then for flexes, maybe Demario Douglas, maybe Hunter Henry as a tight end replacement for a bye week. I don't even know what to think about the Bears, man. I don't think any of these guys are startable besides DeAndre Swift, just on pure volume. 16 carries for Swift, 59 yards. Only 1 catch. Just Caleb Williams is really struggling right now. I don't want to start any of the receivers, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze. These guys are all like barely wide receiver 3 flexes right now. So a lot of concern here. I think they're going to have to change things up. Cole Kmet's not even startable on Chicago. They're very consolidated. Like, look how small their chart is. They run 4 receivers, 3 tight ends, 2 running backs. Very predictable, which is nice. But there's just no fruit here. I think the Packers will have their way with them, and we're probably going to see Eberflus fired during Caleb Williams' rookie season. Bills 30, Colts 20. Interesting game here. No Amari Cooper, no Keon Coleman. So looking at the snaps and the routes here, Curtis Samuel had his best usage day, 66 snaps and 35 total routes here, 4 for 35 on 8 targets. Maybe he's becoming interesting. Khalil Shakir, still the number 3 receiver, 6 for 58. Matt Collins, 4 for 86. They really consolidated and just ran these three wide receivers. But when Amari Cooper comes back, I'm assuming Curtis Samuel gets pushed to wide receiver 4. I think if I'm starting any Bills receiver going forward blindly, it's Shakir. And then we'll see if Amari Cooper can get in the lineup and he'll be a wide receiver 3 flex. Dalton Kincaid got hurt in this one. So if he can't play against the Chiefs, Dawson Knox is interesting because he's going to lead the team in snaps and routes. But Kincaid right now, man, it's been a struggling season for him. I don't think you have to start him as your tight end 1. Like, I'd rather start some other guys if I can find something. James Cook led the way today, 19 for 80 and a touchdown. Not a lot of passing work here. They did use Ty Johnson in the passing game. And then Ray Davis not getting a lot of work, man. He looked so good for that one game or two, but only 3 for 6 as a rusher. Ty Johnson's the third down, kind of 2-minute back. Ray Davis, just a change of pace guy. And then just a quiet day from Josh Allen, 280 yards, no passing touchdowns and 2 picks, 50 yards and a touchdown on the ground. Buffalo just didn't really have to open it up. They, they played well ahead from the Colts all day. The Colts, Joe Flacco looked really ugly to start the game, throwing turnovers, 5 interceptions total in this game between Flacco and Josh Allen. But he recovered, 2 passing touchdowns, 272 yards at the end of it. He did throw a touchdown to Alec Pierce, threw a touchdown to Tyler Goodson. No Michael Pittman Jr. in this one, and we see Adonai Mitchell vault to the wide receiver 1 here. 60 snaps, 37 routes, 6 for 71. Like, Mitchell looked like a guy that needs to be playing every game. And when Pittman Jr. has been in there, Mitchell falls to, number 4 on the depth chart, and they just don't get him a lot of work. But he offers a lot. I like his skill set. Alec Pierce continues to make big plays too. 4 for 81 and a touchdown. Josh Downs, 7 for 72. So what does this say to me? Like, Joe Flacco can support 3 fantasy wide receivers in his lineups. Mitchell, Pierce, and Downs all went over 13 fantasy points in a full PPR format. So Downs is the one that I trust the most. If Pittman Jr. does return, we're going to lose a little bit of steam there on Mitchell. But if Pittman's out, I want to play Mitchell. And then Pierce is a what the heck kind of boom bust flex. I'm not trusting any of the tight ends. You can still, use Jonathan Taylor. But overall, the Colts are frustrating, man. I think we're going to see Joe Flacco play against the Jets one more time. So again, Flacco's a super flex option. You're starting JT. Start Josh Downs, and we'll see about Pittman. If Pittman plays, he's a wide receiver 3 flex. If Pittman's out, I like Mitchell there. We'll cover the Chiefs and Broncos here, and then we'll call it a day for the YouTube channel. Chiefs 16, Broncos 14, a tough loss there for the Broncos with the blocked field goal at the end. Starting with the Chiefs, not much to note here. Justin Watson, Worthy, and Hopkins were the top 3 primary receivers. Broncos have a good pass defense, so Hopkins just 4 for 56 in this one. Worthy's been struggling of late, 1 for 11. He really can't get open and run a lot of the routes that they're hoping that he can win besides deep, go routes. And Mahomes just missed him on one, but he threw it a little outside. Hopkins is the only receiver that's in our fantasy lineups right now. Travis Kelce's back to normal here, 8 for 64 and a touchdown on 12 targets. Kareem Hunt, man, 7 for 65 as a receiver, 14 for 35 as a rusher. You're starting Kareem Hunt, until Isaiah Pacheco comes back, and we'll talk about that. Samaje Perine remains the third down back. Carson Steele, a change of pace guy. And Mahomes, despite not throwing a lot of touchdowns, the numbers are starting to look better. So I can play Mahomes as a QB1, especially against Buffalo this weekend. Broncos side of things, we have a new lead running back, Audric Estime, leading the team in running back snaps and carries, 14 for 53. And the Broncos were ahead most of this game, so they established their run. And it certainly looks like Audric Estime is going to lead this team in carries rest of the way. So if you're running your waiver wires tonight or tomorrow night, check out Audric Estime. Javonte Williams, third down back, 2 for 6 as a receiver, only 1 carry. You can cut Jaleel McLaughlin, by the way. We're done with McLaughlin. Bo Nix looks good, 22 of 30, 215 yards, 2 touchdowns. He might be a QB1 rest of season. I think I'm going to rank him as a high-end QB2, and he's dealing with Cortland Sutton, 6 for 70 and a touchdown on 9 targets. Devon Vele is a guy that is worth looking into. He's the clear number 2 receiver in terms of snaps and routes of late. So interesting Broncos offense. We're not using the tight ends. I think you can pick up Vele. You can pick up Estime for sure. Cut Jaleel McLaughlin, and Broncos, man, looking like they could be a playoff team. I think they're 5-5. Can't remember who they play this weekend, but I believe the game is winnable. We shall see. But hey, that's going to do it for the free version of the post-game notes. If you guys want to get access, check out thefantasyfellowship.com. It's $8 a month, or you guys can do a 2-week trial for $5. Highly recommend checking out. I got all the games. And, not only just the post-game notes, but I post my waiver wire column, my weekly start sit charts, my weekly rankings, dynasty rankings on the first of every month, and then rest of season rankings every week as well. So a lot of stuff there. Check it out. I'm going to hit the outro. If you guys are on the membership page, just hang out to the end of the outro, and I'll resume the video. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you soon.
Got me feeling icy.